G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're working on this sort of vintage stationary engine. It's Wing branded. So it was built by the Wing Gauge and Instrument Coy in Melbourne, Victoria. So that's all there apart from the air filter. It does turn over, it's got compression. No spark at this stage. Got a dirty old magneto on the back of it. So dare say there's some points in there that need cleaning. But just to start with, I'm going to give the outside of the engine a bit of a clean. I'm not going to go overboard with the pressure washer. I'll just clean the main parts and try and keep away from things like the magneto, carb, whatnot. But I just need to clean it up a bit, make it nicer to work on. So it's a brand new spark plug in there. I've already checked that. I'm pretty sure we had oil last time I was mucking around with it. But I've made no attempt to get it running yet. I was just sort of looking at it the day I bought it. And this came with that little Cooper engine that was in a previous video. So, oh yeah, it's got beautiful oil on it. I need to change that. Come on, you bugger. But an interesting little engine. It's nearly all aluminium. It's also got the optional mount to bolt it down to stuff. All the other ones I've seen in other videos that I've been able to track down, which isn't very many of them, it's without this bracket, so they've made a frame up to hold it. We've got a radiator cap for a fuel lid, but I think that's pretty genuine. It's had something similar. Fuel tanks, nice and clean. It's had fuel in it in the last 20 years and you still sort of smell it. Not like the Cooper, anyhow. Alright, so we'll go and give this a quick degrease and hook into it. So that's looking much better now. It's got rid of all the gunge and stuff. Got a little bit of water on the magneto, but I haven't drowned it, so I won't have damaged anything. I just want, it's nicer to work with something that's reasonably clean. Even the cylinder is cast aluminium. Bit interesting anyhow. So I'll wait for it to dry, take it down to the workbench and get started on it. So we're looking a lot better now. Just a little bit nicer to work with. Still oil and shit everywhere, but not nearly as much as there was. So I think we're best off beginning with getting into this magneto here and making sure it's got some clean points and see if we can get a spark happening. So I'll just go and get the stand set up. Oh, my helper's at school today, but I have bought a tripod now, so I can do a little bit of work while I haven't got help about. So, magneto cover here comes off. Got breaker points here, and it had some sort of cork gasket here that's a little bit dodgy. I suppose we'll turn it over and see if they open and shut. And there they're open. A little bit of dirt in them. Yeah, quite crappy looking. Let's see if we can make them work. Oh, need a screwdriver. Open them up that little bit more. I don't have a points file for some reason. Righto. I'll just turn it that little bit. So it grips down on the... I'm just using a little bit of 400 grit sandpaper, wet and dry, just to clean them up some. A little bit of crap came off. Alright. I suppose I can actually pull those off and give them a proper clean as well. And the funny thing is, the bolt that you've got the condenser wire and the bolt, you point, or points as such, is just this one side, the other side's the bolt. Alright, we'll come back in a moment after I've had a look at how to pull it apart. So I've just pulled this the points out, one screw holding them on. I've got a bigger piece of sandpaper. What's this? It's a 180 grit, a little bit coarser. I've just been rubbing it in there, cleaning up the points. So they're looking pretty good. Just going to see if I can get some continuity across them. And so it's still not reading very well. Quite a large amount of resistance here. Not to worry, they'd have a lot of crap build up on them. So I'll just keep going until we can actually get it to read as in ohms instead of meg ohms. So I'm not sure how well this will pick it up on the camera, but we do have some spark happening, so it's a start. They're only quite faint. I might throw the plug in a minute and give it some juice and see what happens. No spark that time. Right, you've got to get it up, got to be getting to a certain speed before it'll do anything, which is understandable. So we'll go with it and see what happens anyway. And probably wouldn't have had any spark that time because the spark plug was resting against the flaming bolt there. Oh, the top was resting against that tab. We'll try again. Right, there we go. Bit unusual, these motors run an anti-clockwise. Yeah, we've got spark, good spark. All right, put this plug in, I'll sit down on the ground and I'll see if we can get it to fire. All right. Plug off the bolt. Right. Heavy bastard to pull over. Alright. It's gonna run. I think we might flood that. A little bit of solvent-based degreaser sometimes helps them start. Sometimes ether's too powerful. Anyway, we've heard it fire. Give it a couple more spins. If you don't hear anything, I'll continue with the carburettor. Oop, that slipped straight off. Being so old, there could be intermittent spark issues. Who knows? We'll leave it at that for a minute. Move on to the carburettor. Righto, so I'll put some fuel in the fuel tank. I've blown those lines out, so I just want to flush out any crap that's in them now. And wait until it starts going a bit clearer. What's coming out at the moment isn't exactly clean. If I can, I want to avoid absolutely stripping this carb, but I don't know how this thing works. We've got an open float bowl, no real way of I'll say how it's held together even, so I don't want to mess with it too much, just in case I break something, because it is quite old. Fuel flow is a bit rubbishy still, so I'll blow some more air back through it in a minute. So that's your main mixture screw. That was out. Yeah, one turn. Okay. There's throttle linkage, and the governor spring seems to come back to this choke. Choke me harder, Daddy. What? Anyway. Righto. Blow some air back through this, when might even replace that fuel line because it had a kink in it. Maybe. So you know what? We'll see if it gains any better fuel flow now. I'll straighten that kink out. I'll just turn it so it's facing downwards, I didn't put very much fuel in there either. A bit more crud, but it's pouring out now. Okay. That's a start. Oops. Here's the bloody drain pan I'll put that into anyway. That's going perfectly. I might just hook this fuel line up and see if the carburettor wants to carburate. Float independent there. That's sick. So I don't know whether it'll stop filling the it looks like it's still filling. And that's sort of like a tickler, I suppose. You hold it down and that will overflow into the carb. I suppose so long as none of these jets are blocked. Oh, that's overflowing now anyway. So, anyhow, I might put this down on the ground for a minute, and just for shits and giggles, see if it runs. So, we've got a little bit of a fuel drip happening. I'll turn the fuel tap off for now, just because our bowl's already very full. I'll see, I would pull the carburettor apart, but if I don't have to, I don't really want to because I'm not an expert on these vintage things. I like to muck around with them, but I'm not an expert on them. So I'd rather leave something untouched and damage it when there would have been a better way to do it. So I just want to get this engine running and then I'll move it on to its new home. But we'll see. Got the choke open a little bit. Well, it's about halfway. Righto. Well, it runs. Got some sort of governor issue though. Doesn't want to go back to idle. That's an idle position there. So we'll just take the spring off for now. We'll let it sit in its idle position. So hopefully we can get it to tick over a bit slower, because that was a bit ridiculous. Oh, rope burn, motherfucker. fuel tap off and let it run out there. Do seem to be having some sort of governor issue, so I'll decide in the next little while whether I'll look into that or not. But yeah, fun little engine to muck around with anyway. Quite heavy to pull over. It's that flywheel on the side just there. It weighs a decent amount. The engine itself weighs a decent amount. But trying to pull that over, certainly got a bit of warmth into me on this winter morning. So having a quick look at this governor, you've got your spring that pulls the throttle open, just like a lot of engines. I'm not sure where it's supposed to connect to, but I'm just going to assume it's there. It comes across to this rod, which is like a pivot point. Right. Then comes down to this rod here. So I think we're best off having a look behind this cover here, just to see if we can see what's in there. Might be missing parts, and if that's the case, unfortunately I'll just leave it as that. Hopefully there's something we can fiddle with and repair in there though. Just make it work properly so it's not over revving. Righto, 4 screws. They're nice and loose. Those haven't been cranked all the way in there. Our fuel tap's evidently leaking a little bit, but it might take up yet too. You never know. Sometimes the seals, especially really old seals, just swell back up when you give them some fuel. So what have we got in here? That's all the way in. Right out. Alright, so what we got is that's in the run position at the moment, so that's all the way forward. Wide open throttle. So when it idles back, it's pushing against that pin there. So maybe, just maybe, I'm starting to think the governor spring should connect to something back this way, but it should be pulling the throttle shut, and the governor here opens up when the engine slows down and pushes the throttle back the other way, because that's sort of in a slow position on the carby, and if that load was coming on it would push it out. That's only a theory. It's working the opposite of how I think it would work, but I don't want to mess with it too much and break something. So I'll have a bit of a fiddle and see what I come up with and come back to you. Here we go, right here. That's how it's working. That seems to be much smoother now. So I'm going to tighten that end up a little bit just so it doesn't fall off. It's only just sitting there. Put this cover back on, and then we'll take it up. I'll actually put it up on the either on the little bit of stainless I wash stuff on, or out on the lawn, because I don't want it to bounce around on the cement and bash up this aluminium anymore. Ideally, if I was keeping this project, I'd bolt it down to a frame, but unfortunately I can't keep every project, so this one will be finding a new home, because I really don't have a use for it and it doesn't sort of fit with anything else I do. some tuning issues there, but it's running better now. I just love this little magneto drive here. I think that's so cool. And with that, thanks for watching.